Hey, I don't know how you pronounce your name, right? Is it Divine or is it Divin? Like how you go?
Divine,
'Cause Divine?
divine.
Sick.
Yeah, yeah.
I
I
love
I
that.
don't know why
Welcome,
it
bro.
says thank you, Serge. I don't know why it says Divin on Zoom, but it's divine. Yeah. So first of all, Serge, I just want to say thank you because if it wasn't for you, people like me wouldn't exist. I'm gonna be real, like, because I've been following you for obviously the past 2 years. We just got our first good result. I was the one that posted the win in the wins chat
Yeah,
about the 28K in 4 days. If it wasn't for you, if it wasn't for people like you, I wouldn't have been able to get a result like that. So I just want to say first, thank you for that.
appreciate
So
it.
I only have one question really, because I mean, I just got onboarded. I just had my onboarding call about an hour ago.
Hmm.
So the main thing I wanted to ask, because I see certain discourses like in like the online space and online info space, etc. So certain people that you have taught, like certain people you have taught, like for example, like Sue. I know you know Sue.
Yeah.
I hear people like them saying stuff like we should not be running ads until 100K a month. And I mean, I don't know the answer because like
Yeah.
they say you should set the foundations of organic until you are at 100K a month, and then you
Hmm.
can, run your ads. And I would say like, I somewhat agree with that, but like I just wanted to hear specifically from you because like I mean obviously like I mean you do this, and
Yeah.
I even hear from other people as well like who also are successful in the space who say don't run ads until 100K a month. And I just noticed in the roadmap we are setting up, we're building all the stuff, and then when we launch, we're running like ad campaigns and like static ads and etc.
Yeah.
So I just want to hear like kind of like sort of
Yeah, for
like
sure. Let's
what your
get into
insight
it.
is on that. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think that's actually a pretty like that's a great question. Let's look at it visually.
Okay.
So, for the longest time, I used to believe that you know, because even my first business was appointment setting, right? Appointment setting agency, which really the insight that led me to building this was the following. My thought was people doing less than, let's say, I would say 20K per month, don't necessarily have the budget for for effective acquisition, infrastructures. Okay. So my idea was the insight that I had was my first agency was an advertising agency, but the reason why I pivoted to appointment setting was because, most businesses don't have a lot of money to invest in growth. So what if I sold them a mechanism essentially that was, cheap or close to free? And the insight here is they're broke, so let me give them a broke, kind of like cheaper way to acquire clients. And the outcome here was, you know, I was selling something for 700 bucks. The most I would charge that, had me so excited was like 1.25K a month, right? I was like, damn, geez, I'm getting rich from this right now, right? And funny enough, that got me to 30K per month, 28K to be exact, 28K a month in 4 months. And and what I learned here was not that this works better than the other thing. Okay? The insight I learned from this experience, from this journey, was not that, oh, cold outreach or using VAs to do outreach is that it's cheaper and that it works better. No. What it did teach me, though, is that I learned for the first time that regardless of how rich or broke a market is, it's irrelevant if your offer matches their financial situation. What do I mean by this? Me scaling my first agency to this rate didn't come from necessarily because outreach with VAs was so successful. To be honest, it wasn't. And the reason why it wasn't was because a lot of these people, I would get leads for them. I would even get appointments, but it wouldn't convert into money. Why? Because they had other struggles. Their bigger struggles were they had the wrong offer. The other struggle was they were pretty bad at sales and they lacked conviction because they've never actually delivered on the promise they're selling. Okay. So, what I think is happening with a lot of people, when you hear a lot of different messaging online, you have to look at it from the following perspective. Are they giving that message because it is true that organic works? Replace appointment setting with organic, let's say. Is it that necessarily if you do organic or you do appointment setting that it works? No. That's not the answer. But the reason why for them it's a message that is worth pushing is because the crowd they're talking to are the people who can't afford to run ads. Therefore, they're like, oh, if I have the belief that I should not do organic till I hit 100K a month, then I inevitably will be sold on their mechanism. It's just a fucking pitch. It has nothing to do with the truth of should you do organic or should you do ads below 100K per month. They're just trying to get you to believe that, oh, below 100K per month, you should just stay organic.
So are you saying like it doesn't even matter then? Like it's just a mechanism of getting whatever leads, appointments, and clients. It's just like
Yeah,
you do,
I think it's the world doesn't, it's not in a vacuum. Like
yeah,
channels don't work in a vacuum. Funny enough,
yeah,
actually, this is so good. Let me show you guys this. Talking about, I want to show you guys this. Now, this is something I just read this morning. It's mainly related to the world of e-com, and I'm going to answer your question because
yeah,
a
no
lot of
worries.
people who are pushing this narrative here, let me see. Yeah, this narrative here of like you should just do organic. Here's why organic right now is killing it. But even if you do organic, like you're still at the mercy of the algorithm,
For
right?
sure.
I look at organic as almost like a mechanism, a validation mechanism. It's a
Yeah.
validation mechanism on your message, which message gets the right people in, which message gets people wanting to buy, and how do you communicate fulfillment so that it creates what? Trust.
And yeah, even like with our clients that we help, like we make sure that we validate organic like our sort of like our philosophy is validate organic first before like introducing paid because you need to validate if the offer works, if you know your fulfillment is dialed, if your messaging is good. And
Correct.
that's why and that's why I feel like I resonate with that message a lot. So like when I would hear certain people say like that, it made the most sense to me. But then I would also hear people say like start running ads at around like 30K a month. So it's
Hmm.
like conflicting, you know what I'm saying?
It's because when you try to look at it as if it's one or the other, that's where you kind of like don't get the insight. Because as an example, right now, like I'm spending, like look at the, like I'm spending money on ads, right? And I'm getting like $40 cost per booked call,
Yeah.
right? But you could be like, oh, let me wait until I have 30K, 100K per month to run ads to get. I mean, if I'm getting $30, $40 per booked call, I'm crazy even trying to get setters to do the work to book me calls. Because as an example, for every $40 that leaves my bank account, I get access to a human who has a credit card balance of let's say 2 grand, 5 grand, 10 grand, 20 grand, 100 grand. I would give up as many $40 as I can to get those people to get relationships over. But if I try to just think that, oh, let me just get organic and let me get setters, that is literally friction. It's adding friction. Setters is a mechanism of adding more effectiveness to the funnel, but it's not necessarily creating, it doesn't add efficiency. So ads is the most leveraged way to get the right thing in front of the right people and get them to take the right action at scale. You will never scale through organic. Impossible. Impossible. Even the anybody who says that organic works, they're just trying to sell you whatever they're selling. So for me, I look at organic this way. You should be doing organic, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
paid at the same time. It doesn't matter if you're going after local businesses, if you're trying to help them scale, if you're trying to you go after online service business, organic and paid are now one and the same. And I want
Yeah,
to
for
read you
sure.
guys this here. So, this is something that just released on I think on Meta, where essentially advertisers are no longer feeding the algorithm with ad volume. Meta is learning from the shape of the signals your creative produces, who it appears to be for, what problems it speaks to, and how consistently that story shows up across services. Second, organic content is no longer optional or separate from paid. It is not part of the ranking surface area for ads. What your brand what your brand publishes organically directly influences how Meta interprets and prioritizes your paid creative. What essentially this means is Meta is now using organic as a mechanism to guide its paid ads. So if you're someone who's advertising, regardless of which industry you're in, you need to be doing some form of organic content because it is a signal that guides your paid. So now, what does this mean? This means that I personally think everyone here should be short posts online. Don't care about volume, just post it. Okay. The same way that you would literally write a tweet, it should be a post. And then you're going to see its performance. The way that you get your performance, for me, I like to look at, I like to go here. So let's see on my IG. So I'll kind of like go on metrics. There needs to be a better way to do this. On TryCook, we're going to add, we just subscribe to an API that brings back all the data from social media back onto the app. So everyone here is going to be able to essentially connect all the social profiles you connect to are going to be able to read your data. So that's going to be cool. Let's see. So let's see in the last 24 hours, I posted this today. I posted this yesterday. I posted this yesterday. I posted this the day before. So for me, what I want to understand is like, why does this have 9,000 somewhat impressions and this only has 3,000? I don't really care. I just care to know that, oh my God, this has 39,000 views. Okay, perfect. Why? And who are the type of people who are liking this? If this
Hmm.
is attracting the right people, then I'm like, okay, cool. I found an angle that's somewhat bringing in who? The right person. So I'll look at something like this. First of all, I'll look at its performance, but most importantly for me, I like to look at who's engaging because the quality of the the people commenting matters probably as much, if not more.
Yeah.
If it's people who are in business, guys who are cooking, right?
Even with Sue, I know he tracks the specific ICP, like if it's an ICP lead, like in his like likes,
Correct.
followers, all that stuff.
So you want to check the, is it getting distribution to people who don't know you? Like this has more people who than who don't follow me. And then, quality of the engagement, or the lead, right? If this is cooking, perfect. Then it's like, how do we take the same thing, but then turn it into a paid asset, the messaging? Because the messaging is really the thing that gets the right people, right?
Yeah.
So what was the messaging that worked here? Cool. Okay, how can we align it with a CTA to our offer? And then what this will do is it will give us more predictability than this will do. Because as soon as this post works, it will die off. When it dies off, we don't want it to die off because, uh, you know, what if we could go show it to a million more people? So this will give you the what, and then this will give you the scale and predictability. Now, the traditional way of validating this year was through paid ads. You had no way of knowing what message works. So you literally had to launch paid in the blind, like blindfolded, and have to validate, okay, what is the hook that's going to work? What is the CTA that's going to work? What is the offer? And then the reason why people say don't do paid ads is because they don't have any prior data on what actually gets what. The right people in, get the right people trusting you, and get the right people wanting the mechanism that you're actually selling. But once you have this, you can just go straight to this. And because we have now the truth engine, right? And we have Cook, well, you can now just go and find anybody in any niche and say, hey, I want to find people who are selling growth to construction companies, maybe more focused on the AI services and systems. So you can now just use this to go find messaging and paid ads are currently cooking. So you don't even need to go through the organic route. You should be doing this because it's free attention. But now you can just start with everything that's validated from the Truth Engine, and then just go straight to it. Does that make sense?
No, it does actually make a lot of sense. I think the biggest thing that I got from that is just, I mean, you got like because of the Truth Engine and as well as like the fact that you guys have worked in a whole bunch of different industries, you
All
guys
right.
have the data to know what works. So it's
Exactly.
really you're not really guessing if you are, doing paid ads. It's not really a guessing game. It's like just
Yep.
doing it's based on data. And I guess then that gives me sort of, I guess, quick because I was just a little bit confused because I'm like, okay, I'm not like, at above 10K a month yet. So I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, let me just focus on organic,
Yeah.
like get those foundations set, and then maybe do paid ads once I was at a certain like level. But I guess it doesn't have
Yeah.
to be like,
Yeah. And the other thing too that you will experience with paid ads is Yeah, for sure. You need to, it's not that you need to do it. Like, it doesn't take much to know if a messaging is killing it in your market or not. Like,
Yeah,
if you're not getting a certain amount of click-through rate, like like out of 100 people who see your ad, if you're not getting 1.823% of them to click, then you know that, like, okay, something is off. So you can just shut
yeah,
that off even after like 1,000, 5,000, 10,000 impressions. Okay. But the thing that makes ads infinitely better than any other thing is the following. It just now becomes a game of capital allocation. There is nothing that scales like just exchanging money for an outcome. You can do organic all day long, but you're still trading time for money. It's time and you get lucky and you'll make somewhat money. You can
yeah,
do outbound, which is setters. This is still time for money, and you somehow get lucky. There is no other thing that can gives you the predictability where it is not about time, it is about money. So you move, so it's the only mechanism that removes that where it allows you to collapse time. So as long as you have your $50, your $100, your $200 per booked call, you can get the outcome once a day, or you can get it 100 times a day, as long as you have your $50. That's how
yeah,
people end up spending 10K, 50K, $500,000 a day on ads. Is because nothing will ever give you the because you can't spend 24 hours of work 10 times. You cannot spend 240 hours in a day unless you build a
yeah,
team, right?
yeah.
And even that creates a lot of friction where you have to now hire managers, and then managers have to manage those people, and then you need managers to manage managers, and then you're
Editors,
like,
directors, all
oh
these
my
different
God.
things.
So for me, that's why this year I started spending a shit ton more money on ads, because I realized that even if I'm a good, I can do content all day. I'm like, well, I have money. Why don't I make money work for me? Why do I have to work for money?
True.
That is the
Yeah,
paradigm that matters. It's like you want to get as fast as you can to finding your optimal selling system and have it not be tied to your time.
yeah.
Cool. Hey, Dan.
Helps a lot.
Wait, what is an optimal selling
Mhm.
system?
It's really like attention. How do you get attention? Then how do you um then how do you have a sales conversation? And then how do you essentially end up with money? It's really like how do you go from attention to money? You first need to figure out like how do you get tr attention, where it's like because business at scale becomes just a finance, like it's almost the goal is like to have almost like a financial model for your business where you know that you do X amount of energy worth of calories that you put in your business and you get X amount of money back. Or you put X amount of money in and you get X amount of money back. But you can't have that level of predictability till you figure out what your optimal selling system. Now, the optimal selling system is a lot more complex because of the noise. It's like, are you going to do organic? Are you going to do paid? And then once you do that, then what is the messaging that brings in the right quality leads? Then what does the funnel look like? Is it a VSL funnel? Is it a webinar funnel? And then a sales conversation is like, okay, cool. Well, what does a qualified lead mean? Or a sales, an SQL, what people call an SQL, right? And then what is the proper, discovery? And then what is the, proper closing framework, right? And then once you have this, you need what? You need, okay, cool. Well, what is the optimal price for our product where we have enough margins to survive and I have margins to pay for this and fulfill for what we're selling and still be able to do what? To have profit. And then, I think price goes here, like yeah, just figure out what your price point is going to be. And then once you have this, then you just 100 exit to get to what? To a million, to 10 million, to 100 million. Yeah. Like for us, like one thing that I figure out is that like, I'm pretty good with webinars, so I can do ads, I can do organic, I can get people in a room, I can explain what works and what we're doing. Then I can get them to either put a deposit down that gives us a little bit more margin. I can get them to book a call. I can get them to buy, blah, 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 blah. So like then I have a model where I can literally say, okay, we want to make $1 million a month. And when I put $1 million as the goal in that model, I literally get everything back from how many people, how many calls do we need For us to get that many calls, how many people do we need putting a deposit versus booking without a deposit? Then I can get how many people need to be there when I do make the offer. Then I need to know the number of people that need to actually show up in the full event. Then I need to know the amount of leads that we need to get in order to get that many people to show up. Then I need to know based on the cost per lead how much I need to spend on ads. And I also know the contribution of organic. So I know how much needs to come from organic. And now success literally becomes a, a predictable thing. Like money is literally how much do I want? Okay, cool. How much am I willing to? This is what's going to be required to be successful or to hit that goal. But you cannot have that level of prediction without first dialing in like, okay, what are you going to do and how do these all come together? Right?